Macklin Celebrini, a rookie first overall pick who's putting up numbers at 18 years old we haven't seen since Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby, defying all expectations and taking on the role of franchise savior. Dustin Wolf, the best rookie goalie we've seen in decades, about to carry the worst offense in the NHL into a playoff spot. After dominating every level of hockey he's ever played, he's already arguably a top 10 goalie in the NHL as a rookie. Matvei Mishkov, the ultra-skilled Russian winger who became folklore pre-draft, breaking Ovechkin and Kucherov's records in the Russian league, and he's already second in a hard-coached Tortorella Flyers in points as a rookie. 3 ridiculous talents. All of them being in the same rookie class means we're going to look back at this season as one of the best rookie races in a long time, but what if I told you none of these guys are the current favorite for Rookie of the Year? Meet Lane Hutson, the shortest and lightest defenseman in the NHL, but he's been putting Montreal on his back, and he's breaking all-time defenseman point records. Doing it in Montreal, arguably the biggest pressure cooker environment in hockey, while they're on the hunt for their first playoff appearance since 2021, is all the more reason why NHL.com ranked him as a favorite for Rookie of the Year. He isn't a former first overall pick. Montreal picked him in the late second round with the pick they got trading Brett Kulak to Edmonton. The Habs making that trade has set them up with the youngest core in hockey that's about to turn some serious heads. Speaking of moving your head, Lane Hutson's head fakes are already pissing off other players around the league. He has a God-given talent for deceiving players on the ice and creating advantages out of it. Hockey is the fastest game on earth, and the NHL is the fastest version of it. To get an advantage, you have to be able to process a game at a world-class level. To get an advantage as a 5'9" defenseman, you have to have a near-generational mind. The tenet of Hutson's game, that everything else is built around, is deception. That's how he consistently maintains a competitive advantage on the ice. Open ice dekes, head fakes, or it could even be as simple as a fake slap shot in the slot or to freeze a 2 Florida defenseman before trying to drag it backhand. Everything he does is built around deception. He's pretty good at pushing the puck ahead where he knows he'll get there first. Hard stops can help him find these little pockets of space which are necessary to create a competitive advantage. We're talking about a guy here who genuinely might be leading the NHL in head fakes per 60 and broken ankles per 60, and he's a rookie defenseman. To understand why this kid is so hyped up, there might not be a single forward who relies on trying to trick opposing players as much as Hutson does. And again, he's a defenseman and a rookie. His skating can only get him out of so much, however. With Hutson, you'll get plays like this where he can step around the 6'3", 200-pound Andrei Svechnikov. He'll get space only for him to get caught by Sean Walker, pinning him against the boards. Despite being smaller, at 5v5 this season, Hutson has become one of the best players league-wide at entering the offensive zone with control. Such an important stat. A controlled zone entry is described as entering into the zone either by passing it to a teammate or by carrying it in yourself. Hutson has more controlled zone entries that have led to a shot from the slot than he has controlled zone entries that didn't succeed. Let me repeat that just to be clear. If his 5'9", 160-pound defenseman is about to enter your defensive zone and he has control of the puck, it's more likely the Habs get a shot from the slot than it is that he doesn't enter the zone. Oh my god. Part of the reason we're comparing failed entries to shots from the slot is, well, one, it's the most dangerous area of the ice to score from, which makes it even more ridiculous. But two, according to Mike Kelly from Sportlogic, Hutson is leading all defensemen in the NHL in slot pass completions. His vision in the offensive zone is borderline generational. Remember the defenseman competition in 2025. He's competing with Hughes, Werenski, Makar, one of the best Norris races we've seen this century. But when it comes to making passes to the most dangerous area of the ice, Hutson is the king right now. In his own zone, he lets Matheson quarterback the breakout while he sits in the center of the ice. Pretty unconventional for a defenseman, which is why he had so much open space when receiving the puck in the neutral zone. But when he took a step inside the zone, he knew right away that Gallagher would be darting. His route lined up the Canucks defense into one of the worst 5-man lines I've ever seen, and he gets it onto the tape of Gallagher for what should have been an easy goal. He can find players streaking, but his patience to make the pass in the right spot is what's so impressive and why he's on pace for 60 assists as a rookie. Waiting for Caulfield to join the rush, he senses that Scheifele is a step behind and times the pass perfectly only to be stopped by Hellebuck. He can find players in the slot with ease, but as all great defensemen need to be able to do in today's game, Hutson is also one of the best at looking out for tips in front. Having Slavkovsky, one of the best deflecting wingers in the game right now, and Hutson, both from the same draft, is ridiculous. This could end up being 5 to 6 goals a season of Hutson finding Slav in front. From the same position, he can shoot, or he can find Nick Suzuki backdoor for a chance in front. Hutson hit the second fastest top speed from a defenseman this season in a game against Carolina, and he could be described as one of the most elite skaters in hockey, but he isn't at the Cale Makar level of consistently hitting that top end speed. His best trait is agility and acceleration that has gotten Montreal out of so many tough situations, and it's created a lot of rush chances out of nothing. Shooting is a different story for Hutson, however, as his size really does show its weakness. He isn't able to get into the slot to create opportunities, and from the blue line, he's not got a strong enough shot to score consistently for Montreal. 1.7 slot shots per 60 is significantly fewer than Makar or Hughes, but it's even fewer than, Shane Gostisbehere or Colton Parayko. At 5v5, he's averaging the same amount of high danger shots per 60 as Jamie Alexiak or Ben Sherratt, two defensive defensemen. So you can kind of look at this two ways. One, he can improve his shot over time, similar to Quinn Hughes, to where it won't even be a problem. Or two, defenders have already cracked the code on stopping his goal scoring, keep him wide, and he doesn't have enough room to go when he's not strong enough to shoot. So either he will get better at shooting, or defenders already know how to stop him for good and he'll never get any better. Both options, however, you still have to respect Hutson for being able to deceive the other team without having a serious shooting threat in the arsenal. Players like Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar rely on a fake shot to get a lot of open space. Hutson doesn't necessarily have that liberty, and he's still finding the space, which is all the more ridiculous. Going through his grand total of 4 career goals, 3 of them Hutson wasn't even trying to score. I'm not being silly. Like, you can clearly see his intention is to pass or get a deflection. But you know what? Funny enough, the only goal where it seems like he meant to score was against Connor Hellebuck, the best goalie in the league, where he hit a low glove snipe with room. Notice how much room he gets down the wing. This is a result of his playstyle to creep down the wing when he has space, which is actually a testament to the entire Montreal system, which has been comfortable having defensemen join the rush for a while now. Gouli was a main benefactor last season, and Matheson has been doing it for a couple years. It's a little irresponsible at times, and it's definitely led to the odd rush chance against, but the opportunities that get opened up as a result kind of speak for themselves. Part of this equation, however, is that Hutson isn't as strong on the right side as you would hope for a dynamic offensive defenseman. He looks panicked collecting the puck on his offside, and it's led to a lot of turnovers this season. A stat which Hutson is actually pretty on top of, all things considered. Not even in the top 50 among defensemen in giveaways per 60, which should be a pretty optimistic look into how well-oiled his offensive game is. He isn't offering pizzas every other night despite being 3rd in the NHL among defensemen in puck possession a game. That's pretty crazy. To me, this might be one of the craziest stats here. On the power play is where Hutson really shines, however. Already leading the NHL in power play assists, the open ice lets Hutson absolutely handle opposing PKs. The best way to get a goal in the power play is to be in the offensive zone. No kidding, but Hutson's zone entry on the power play is absolutely elite. The only number 1 power play quarterback with a better rate of controlled zone entries is Roman Josi, a former Norris winning defenseman who's stuck in Nashville this season. Montreal is one of the few teams in the league that has begun to rely on a defenseman for zone entries, and it usually starts with Nick Suzuki behind the net, who drops it to Lane Hutson. When he collects the puck behind the net, he feels confident being able to take it in himself, looking like Nikita Kucherov offering a fake pass and a stutter step to get Artem Zub crossing the wrong direction before speeding in and shooting it. Times like this, you do wonder what would happen if his shot was actually elite, how often he's able to completely dismantle a penalty kill and getting himself into a good area to shoot. His goal total would be pretty damn high if he could actually rip it. Last season, Montreal was 27th in the NHL in power play percentage. This year, they're up to 17th in the league, and you can really look at Hutson's quarterbacking for why. Line A is an amazing shooter, but he wasn't scoring on the power play this much at any other point in his career. He's been on a generational power play scoring run, and 12 of his 16 goals this season have been assisted by his power play quarterback. So we've talked about what makes Lane Hutson so good, but the biggest question about him, as the smallest defenseman in hockey, is, well, it's his defense. It should be his worst trait, but I really don't think it's that bad. In the NHL, there's been a path paved for being a decent to strong defensive player as a smaller guy. Looking at Quinn Hughes, high IQ, an understanding of systems, great hands, skating. Those traits alone will get you out of dangerous scenarios and help you on 2-on-1s. If you use your weight properly, you can win puck battles, and Hutson's already kind of doing that. He's pretty good at boxing players out and using his edges to force a defender into the wrong position. He's first among Habs defense in 5v5 takeaways, and he's quite good at shutting down rush chances using his generally strong hockey sense. He actually wins puck battles in the defensive zone at a better rate than Mike Matheson or Alex Carrier, but it's being done in relatively sheltered minutes. He's at the 55th percentile for quality of competition this season, a stat which grades how good a player's individual competition is. If he was at 100%, he would be playing flu game McDavid every shift. If he was at 0%, he would be playing Matt Rempe with the flu every shift. Hutson's right in the middle, and the number one defenseman, the Hedmans, Makars, and Hugheses tend to be near 100%. So I've said a lot of good things about Hutson defensively, but he doesn't grade amazingly defensively. There's only so much you can do to prevent a goal or a shot against when you're 5'9", 162 pounds. Sometimes you could describe him as a little bit lazy or putting more effort in offensively than defensively. As a last man back, he tried batting the puck out of the air instead of turning around, preventing the breakaway goal that followed. It's a bit of a tough look. Montreal's recent switch to a hybrid defensive coverage has allowed for some of the more undersized defensemen to really stick to their men, and that does help out Lane Hutson, but the downside of this is when Hutson misreads a puck battle and goes behind the net to help a strong side defender, he leaves Leon Draisaitl alone in front, who can make a pass to Arvidsson for a dangerous chance. Hudson's also subject to getting absolutely walked when a defender has some physical leverage on him. A guy like Draisaitl can get just about any look he wants on Hutson, and okay, well that's fine at this age. It does make you wonder what his ceiling could look like down the road. Not everyone has a Draisaitl, but as you get deeper and deeper into the playoffs, a lot of teams have a guy near or at his level. So yeah, defensively, Hudson's not a superstar by any means. In fact, he can be a liability out there on the defensive end. That's going to put a question mark on his ceiling as a player, because if you can't play out there for the last few minutes of the game, or if teams are targeting you in the defensive zone, how are you going to earn number one money in this league? Quinn Hughes grew into a stronger defensive player, but he's an inch taller, 20 pounds heavier, faster, a better skater, and yeah, it's Quinn Hughes. For every sub 6'10" defenseman who turns into a star, there's 10 Gostisbeheres, Girards, or Montours who never became anything more than a number 2 or number 3. The smallest defenseman in hockey and the biggest market in the league is currently the favorite to win Rookie of the Year. He's a star, absolutely no doubt. His talent is immense, obviously, but defensively, I can't give him a pass just yet. He seems to be working on everything he can to improve, so I'll give him that. Sometimes it's hard to really gauge where a guy lands when they're so good, so young, but this guy is only 21 years old and playing on a team that's changed defensive structures mid-season. Okay, I've just given you guys all my differing takes on him defensively, my flip-flopping opinions on if he'll ever be good. You can argue if it's going to be a problem in the future or not, because at this point I don't think there's any way of knowing for sure. Lane Hutson could be Quinn Hughes one day, or he could be Shane Gostisbehere. We don't have any way of knowing for sure, but we do know one thing. Night in, night out, he's putting on a show for Montreal fans in a way that hasn't been seen in decades. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. As you guys know, we're shooting for 4 million subscribers by the end of March, and I crunched the numbers the other day, and unfortunately the model says we're currently not on track, so please get on that, guys. And while you're at it, check out Sport Contract for all professional scouting needs. If they're good enough for Hockey Canada, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Big Head Hockey, they're absolutely the right choice for you. Check them out below.